Thank you for joining the Gates Design Power webinar for belts. My name's Rob Michelson. I'm the Product Manager for Belts for Motion Australia. Been using Gates Drive Design for many years. It's my go-to for selections for suitable belt drives or drive analysis to check the existing belt drive health. Design Power is the latest development from Gates with updated data and improved accuracy. So you may not be aware, but oversized belts can be just as detrimental to the belt life as undersized belts. So selection is key to having a great drive from day one. So it's important to select the drive within a certain power range suitable for the application. The program will provide accurate tension values as well, as tension is also the largest contributor to premature belt life. So I'd like to introduce Rosie Rosie Hermdas from Gates. She's the National Product Manager for Power Transmission. Rosie will take us through the program today, which covers the software download, selecting a suitable V-belt drive or synchronous drive, and the analysis of an existing drive. This should take about 45 minutes. There's a Q&A button. You can log on, answer and log any questions you like. And at the end, we'll have about 15 minutes to answer through those questions. So thanks very much for your attendance, and over to you, Rosie.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you everyone to join us today just to join this training. So yes, as Rob's mentioned, so Design Power is a program, our program calculation for belt drive that we launched a new program this year. So basically, if you can take the next slides, please. Basically, the Design Power before, in the past, we will have two different applications, which is Design IQ and Design Flex. So Design Power is the program just combined the two of them. So if for the persons who are already involved in that design programs, so the Design Flex is basically you use when you have two single point of belt drive, and Design IQ is the one when you have a multiple or more complex serpentine belt drive. So that Design Power is combine all of them, so you can have projects which is you can combine a single 2 points belt drive or a multiple points belt drive. Next slide. So basically that's a program. It was as we mentioned before, it was launched this year. And then we already have on our website, so you go to the website, so www.gates.com, and then you will find the option to download. It's completely free, so you don't have to pay for that. So you go to an option of Knowledge of Center, and then Engineering Applications, and then on that you will find different applications and different programs that Gates have, but you will find that one as a Gates Design Power. So you click on that and then just follow, all the instruction, and you will be able to install your on your computer. It's very easy. It's not any complication to do it. Just in case if you need, some help, so we can, help you to do it. If sometimes people have problem because they need authorization from the IT department. But in general, it should be easy and then really not complication to download it. Next slide. All right, so at the beginning when you register, so obviously you have to create a new account, because what happened with the old system is not connected with this new program. So you have to create a new account with under this new program. So if you still want to use the old program, I don't know, but some people have some conflicts to use in both, but I will probably recommended to use the new program, because obviously the advantages of the new program is you will have everything updated. So based on background updated, you will have the new product, launched by Gates included in the program. So all the settings on the background, it will be updated on this one. So that's why we recommend it. If it's a new, design, or if it's a new belt design, you will have it available on this. So for this new program, so what you need to do is create the account, select new, put all your information there, like email address, your company, and some of the fields are mandatory, but some of them you can do it in blank. I will suggest to put Australian market, but I will explain later how we change to use the setup in Australian market or European market or USA markets. Next slide. All right, so as I said, the program combined two modules available. Today, we just cover only one, the Design Flex Pro. The Design IQ is, as I mentioned, is more complicated, so we will probably cover in a different webinar. But for today, I will take you through only for the Design Flex Pro. Next one. All right. So once you download it and install, you can start doing your calculation. So basically, as Rob mentioned before, you can just review an existing drive design, or you can do a new design from scratch. So you can do a new one, which is also available. But obviously, you will have you have to have some input. So in that case, I'm gonna use an example, and I will jump on my computer. So to do that example for you in live. So, but just for you to remember, so we're gonna use that input or that calculation. So we have a crusher drive, which is we're gonna use a 220 kilowatts, and then 1,450 RPMs motor. So that motor, it will work on 16 hours. And then we have a drive input, which is, you need the shaft diameter. Sometimes it's necessary if you have limitation on shaft diameter. You have the pulley, and then you have a pulley driven, the driver pulley, and the driven pulley, which is have the as well, the information. You need the center distance, and then in that case, what we try to do is just to analyze that existing drive to the customer has. So actually, the customer have that that drive using a C section bell, but the customer has a problem, and then they want to know if there is any option to improve that one. So I will now share my computer and then show you the program. Okay. All right. So once you register, so the program, it will depends on the setting you got on the program. For me, I just setting, a white screen, but you can have a different setting in there. But this is pretty much what you got. So on the top of the program, you have different options on the left. So you have files, tools, and help. So files, basically, you will have the option to create a new project or a new design. So the one of the good things, or the new things about this program is that you can create a new project. So in that project, you can have different designs, or you can have only a design, a single design. So you decide which one do you want. But on a project, you can have multiple designs loaded to that. Let's say you have, a customer that you want to, they have a different drive, so you want to save it as a project, so you can save it all of them in one project. Or, as I said, you can have a single design. You can open, once you save it, you can open using, your desktop, wherever you save it. So you can open an existing project or design, and then you have the option to save. On the tools, you have users, which is, it will give you all the information about your user name, your email address, and then what you have, because you can use a different user. So you can put as a default one and then use another one. if you like. So you also have module settings, which is more about the colors, backgrounds, like if you want to use a different backgrounds or different settings on your program. You also have design settings, this is the one I'll tell you when you registered. So for default, the program, it will give you access to the North America market. However, we know North America market use the imperial units. So normally in Australia, we know we use metrics. So the system, it will give you a North America. So if to have access to Europe, you have to email us, and then we will ask our support team for that program to give you access to Europe. So you can jump from one on another if you would like. So if you use Imperial, so you use North American. If you use Europe, you use if you use metrics, you will jump to Europe. And then unit scheme as well. So you have the option here to change for Imperial and metric as well. So when you're doing, let's say when you're doing your drive design and you forget, you will be able to do during your calculation. So don't worry about that. Language, you can change the language, whatever the language you prefer. And backup. So if you on the backup, the program, it will allow you to save 10 projects backup. So you will, if you have, problems, so you can come back and recover them. And theme, again, this is more about how do you want your program look like, so what color. And then you have the help option, which is more give you, link about shortcuts, how do you do it, and then link about, websites or contact us. All right, so I'm gonna start to do the calculation. So if you remember, so we will have 220 kilowatts. So, and then the customer was using a V-Bell C-section. So if you see here on your left side, so you have the synchronized bells and you have the V-Bell. So you can open that and then you have all the options we got. If you want only to do a tension, you will have the option to select to calculate tension. And if you want to do a calculation of conversion from a roller change to a belt drive, so you have the option as well in here. So okay, so I will first jump and then change my setting for Europe and press OK. And then automatically it will change the option in here. So in that case, I will select the belt that the customer was using. Before it was using a C profile belt, and then it's a button on here that you can click and say apply. It will give you a screen which is you have to put all your inputs. So all right, so how do you see what you have select? So on your left side here on the top, you have select, because what you're doing here is to review an existing belt drive. So you have a high power and you have a C-section. What happened if you need to change another belt? So you want to change, you probably made a mistake. So you click in here, change belt, and then it will jump. It will give you the option to change your belt. So in that case, for example, I forgot to change my units for metrics. So I have horsepower. So, but I can jump in here and then say unit scheme, and then I will change my metrics. Press OK. Yes. Rosie. And then automatically it will change to, sorry?
Rosie, it's just a black screen. I can't actually see the data on there.
Oh, okay.
So the
okay, so can you see my left, the unit scheme? Do you? Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm not sure what is not showing. I just using one screen. All right. So, well, when you click on here, unit scheme, it will pop up another screen, which is you can change your units. So in my case, I changed unit for metrics. And then if you see here on the power, it changed for kilowatts. And then the rest of the data, it will change. So in here, you have millimeters and you have millimeter center distance, and it will change for units, for metrics units. All right, so for the starter calculation, obviously you need the inputs. So you need the power for the motor, you need RPN, input RPN, and you need, if you use driver and driven pulley. So if you don't have, if you have the input RPN and you have the dimension for the pulleys, you can calculate the ratio. So you don't need the output RPN. And then also what do you need is your center distance. Okay, so we started to put the power, which is 220. And then units, kilowatts. And then you have the RPN, which is 1450.
Rosie,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Are you able to please share your full screen rather than the application? That might solve the issue.
Okay, I will stop sharing. Do it again.
Yeah, that's working. Thank you.
Can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, okay, so just come back to that option. So on tools, you go unit scheme, select, and I change my, I select my units in here. So you can use imperial or metric, and then press OK. And then I was about to put it all the information we need to do to assess that belt drive. So, and then we also, the customer also gave us the pulleys dimensions. So they have 425 for the driver. And then we have for the driven on the right side, we have the same one, which is a 1-to-1. So it says that the input RPN is 1450, and then the output, it will be the same because pulleys are the same.
Sorry to interrupt you again. Are you able to please just start that from the beginning, because we would have missed the start where the screen was blank.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, so so from here. So so I was putting power. So after I change my units in here from metrics and then press OK, I was putting my power, which is, this is the first, you see 3 blocks in here. So driver, the driver details are driven. So you basically, you need to put input all your information here if you are review your belt drive. So we put power, so it's 220 kilowatts, and then you put the RPN is 1450. The 425 is the dimension for the driver pulley. And then we have dimension for the driven pulley is the same. So 425, which is the ratio is 1. So let's say you have only information for one pulley, and then you will be able to change the ratio here if you need it. And then you have another, you need to have the center distance, which is, that one is given by the customer. So it's 832. And then the system, it will automatically just to calculate the max and minimum, the tolerance between that. So max and min it will be if you have, for example, the flexibility to adjust your center distance. So this is what it will consider on the calculation. And if not, if you do not, so in the summary of the selection, you will able to select whatever it will suit you. So in that case, so that's it. So another thing you have to probably use is the service factor. So service factor, if you click on help, it gives you an indication what do you use. So normally on VBELS depends on how many hours and depends on the of the application. So you probably need to change your service factor. So this is a table, complete table about if on your left side. So you will have all the machines that you can have. You can have pump. You can have centrifuge. You can have a screen. The different applications. And then on the top, you will have the number of hours it working, and then in that case, you will select it depends on VBEL or synchronous bell, which service factor is the correct one. So in that case, we just jump for the default one. On the default one for VBELs, it will give you 1.2, and then default for synchronous bell will give you 1.6. So we just give on this one, the customer said is that the belt is driving for 16 hours, which is the third column. And then we just third column, and then we select 1.4, just select here, press OK, and it will automatically pop, the value in here. All right. So if you see on the bottom part, there is an option there, say more options. If you click on more options, so you will have in there again some information you can put it. I mean, if you have all this information, is better for you to do the selection. So you can have, if the application have a gearbox, you can put the ratio gearbox, and then automatically it will calculate your RPM and adjust it on your driver. You can also have shaft diameter, and then you can change unit in here. So in that case, you need to be careful, because if you put, for example, I think I have the shaft diameter, yeah. So it's 100. So let's say I put 100, and then I just, forgot to change my unit because my 100 is per millimeter. So when I change it here and I change millimeter, it will change my shaft diameter. So I have to be careful, do the change of the unit, and then just put the value, the correct value. So shaft diameter for the driver is 100, and shaft diameter for the driven is 85. All right. So this is what the customer have gave me. Also, you have bushes to consider. So you can use select QD bushes, type of bush, or pilot ball if you need a pulley for the pilot ball. So just select apply, and then before you just do calculation, just review what you got, if all your inputs are correct. And then there is two buttons here. So the half button, the top one is a design, which is it will give you the calculation. And then you have a clear buttons here, which is the clear. So you just select design. And then in that case, it gives you the design. So for this particular one, the program will give you only one solution, which is in a color, which is it give you a warning if you see here. So a high ring speed. So in that case, because this is an existing drive, so you can just see that the drive have a problem. So the customer probably have to change to a better drive. That's why they have some issue. So if you see the table summary, so if you, for example, next calculation I will do it for a completely, calculation from the scratch. But if you see here, so we have this is the belt using 115 C belt drive, the driven driver. So do you have your RPMs? You have the what we call over design ratio, and then you have center distance, and then in that case the original center distance it was 832, and then in that case it tells you that you are minus, so it's probably shorter for this one. And then you have the belt pull as well. And then basically this is the summary. From here, you can do many things. So first things to point out in here. So if you see on the right side, so you have that you are doing a design, one design, right? To change that one, because probably you want to do a different design. So you just, I don't know if you remember when I started. So I started saying like you can create a new project, which is you have a different designs, and then you have a single design. So if you click on the new project, so you will see your design in here, Design Flex. So this is the one you are working on. So you can have, for example, if you create a new one, it will be pop in this screen. So to change the name, because you don't want to confuse, so you can just right click on that and it will give you all the options to change name and to put some description. So let's say this is a design one. Let's call this one A design. Okay, and then let's say you want to put some description, existing design, you can say C section, So, and then you have some reference, the name, and you have some reference. To come back to that, you just click on that, and then you have this one here. All right, so obviously that one, it doesn't mean much. So in that case, you can click on here, and then you generate the report. So basically, this is the report, which is it gives you on that drive, existing drive design. So you have on the top, you have all the inputs you got. So you have a speed rating of 1, 220 service factors, and then design power and center distance. And then obviously you will have on the driver and driven information on the right side. Then on the second section, you have select the drive. So the select drive obviously is the existing one. So the customer is using 12 belts, C section, and then this is the information it gives you. So first things to point out here is first, if you see that one is in red, so that one it gives you the an information that the rate load is less than what actually the customer needed. So if we see on the top here, so 220 kilowatts multiplied by 1.4, it will be 308 kilowatts in design power. What happened is with these belts, that belt is only give you 294 kilowatts. So that's why that customer probably have a failure on this belt, or the belt is not lasting like the light is supposed to do. So in that case, yes, this is the first problem. Second problem, it was the speed. So what it said, the pulleys has a high pulley ring speed. So this is another information in here. You can see in red. So normally it's 33, and then that one is higher than that. So this is another warning. So the third section is the tension. So in here, it gives you all the options about the tension, which is very important when for installation. So it gives you tension values about in Newton meters, and then it gives you tension value in frequency as well. And then also have the option to give you how to measure the tension using our tools. So if you're using the pencil, so you probably might need the deflection distance, which is that one in millimeter. And if you use our sonic tensionometer, you can have in newtons or you can have in hertz, which is it will give you both units are handled by our tensionometer, tensionometer 550. So, and then here on the right side, so this is on the right side, it gives you the constants you need to put input on your tensionometer to provide the tension, the proper tension. or to measure the proper tension. So this is the way pretty much, how is constructed the report. So on the bottom part, you see some notes, which is recommended to when you do your design, just to look at all the notes, what we basically, provide as a warning. So as I said before, we have problem with the pulley speeds, and then we have problem with the rate loads on that calculation. All right, so on the top here, you have application, and you have you have called that report design A, and then automatically with your user, it will create, what is your contact details in there, whatever you put it in when you register. But then it's missing an information on the left side, for example, design for. So this is the design for, it will is the information you put it for customer. So how do you do that once you got that report? So is an option here on the left side, which is you have customer information. So you click on that, you have customer information, and you can put in here from whom you are designing. So let's say you are designing for Rossi, and for Gates, and then you can put as much information you want, Rossi at blah, 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 and then save. Last name is required, so save, and then the information, it will be on the top on the left side. So Rossi, all the information, wherever you want to put it in there. Another thing, once you got the report, so you have drive conditions. So this is a more drive condition if you want, for example, to have that conditions in your report, but that one, it won't change anything on your calculations. It's just for information, like the customer has tell you that the application is on a hot condition environment, and then there is some miscellaneous. So this is only on information that you can include it in the report. Another option here. So once you got your report and you say, I made a mistake, so I haven't used the correct, units, or you want to use a different unit. So you are able to change that unit here again on the report. So if you change that, you don't need to come back to your design. So you just change it on the report, and it will change automatically. Again, here, so if it is show drive prices, which is not going to be relevant for us, because this is all in like for America. So if you want to the notes on the bottom, so that one, if you want to show that note, so if you want to hide it, so you have that option there. And also you have the option to show tension, which is, I will recommend it just to always show that part. So on the as well, part of the report, which is that summary report, so you also have a print label. So when you just click on print label, so you have this option here. So normally what happens is that sometimes, on some maintenance, guys, they need, the information just printed and just, attached to the machine. So it means that label is you can put it in the machine, and then you have, the proper tension, and then what is using for that machine. So this is a really good option. So you have a QR code as well, which is give you that information. So that label, it gives you, let me put it bigger. So information about basic things. So what is the belt? What is the pulleys using? And then what is in that case, what it is the tension you need to apply for that particular drive design. And then if you use the tensionometer, if you use the pencil, or if you use the tensionometer. So that one is a really useful as well. So if you need to use, all right. And then, okay. So, and then you have another option here on the left, which is it gives you option to move your belt. So let's say, for example, you say, all right, so I'm using for that belt 12. let's say, all right, so the customer say like, 12 is not transmit the power I need, or we know on that calculation is not, is not able to transmit the power. We have problem. So let's say, okay, so I want to increase, use one more bell and see if it's working. So in that case, so you have options to put shorter bell, longer bell, narrow bell, or wider bell. So shorter and longer bell. So it will obviously change your center distance. Narrow bell, you use less bell, or you use wider bell, you use more bells. So in that case, let's say we know that we have problem with that one using 12 bells. So you want to use one more bell. So you just press on wider. Problem, give me one sec. Okay, so you want to use more bells. So just next wider, and then it will do recalculation using a 13 bells. But still, you have problem. You probably cover your rate load, but you have problem with your pulley arrangement. So in that case, you can come back and then change your pulley, put a bigger or smaller pulley. So, and then you will come back and see. Or in that case, I will probably suggest to just go for a new drive design. So I will close this one or minimize this one, and I will start a new design. So go to project and then go to new. And then a new design. So I will put design B. I will call design B. Okay. And it will pop up this this screen, this is the different options we got on the program. So we have the design flex, which is the one for 2 points, and then this design IQ, which is this is a multiple serpentine belt drive, and then the other ones are for more automotive. So these two applications there. So we are using the design flex. So we click on that. And if you see on the right side, you got your first design A and design B. So you are doing the design B. So again, I will probably need to change my units, and then probably need to change my Europe. And then I will start a new design. Okay, so I know that the customer have been using a C profile, right? Belt profile, B belt profile. So it gives you an indication what else can we choose. So I think the next one, it will be still a B belt, but I will gonna start using probably a SPB. So I will jump for C section to SPB. Why I choose this SPB? Because my first probably criteria here is that not change the pulleys. Let's say I just want to focus on the bell. So if you use a CV section, so you need some SPC, so you can use the same pulley. All right, so I select SPB, click on that, and then you start a new fresh calculation. I'll select that one, and then I will put again my data here to 20, 1450. I specify my pulleys. Center distance A32. You can manually put, previously we use 1.4. You can open the help option and then change it, or you can manually change it in here as well. So if you already selected, you just check your options. So you have shaft diameter 100, and then remember always to put apply, otherwise it won't include it in your calculation. Okay, check, everything is done. I forgot to mention, if you have a specific belt that you have already, you can select it in here as well. But in that case, because we're just doing a fresh one and we want to see if that belt it will be suitable or a solution for that customer, design, and then it is a new design. If you see here is no any warning on the left, the summary, what is give you is in blank, is no any color. So it means that that one, it could be a good option for the customer. When you click on here and generate the report, again, you have to have the option to do your inputs on the customer input. Okay, so actually, yes, it's a problem with that bell drive. But let's say, so that one is, we got the rated again, you have a problem. So let's say if with one more belt, it will be an option for the customer, and then it is. So for example, for this one, so everything is in not red color. So that one, so we know that for 7.1, it was a problem. And then you said, all right, I want to use one more belt, and then you select wider, and then it will include one more belt. So this one, it will be a solution for the customer. So you have 8 belts running on a same pulley. Probably, I didn't remember how many grooves do you have in the other one. So, but that one, it could be a solution for that customer. So, what else can I mention in here? So it's the same. So if you see the notes, it's pretty much more clear. So it's not much to highlight. So, and then the report is the same. And then at the end, so if you want to save, let's say, let's put the customer information. Just to look better. So you have application, drive B, and then you have the option here to print it if you want it, or to save it. So you can save, let's say, design, blah, 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 save it, and then you can save it, and then it will save in a PDF. So this is pretty much what you got, and then yes, so this is it will give you dates when it was generated, and then everything is on the report. So if you see here, so another thing to emphasize is the pulley numbers as well that is given in the drive. So the bushes it will give you, so what bushes is required as well. And then pretty much what is the weight for the belts. If, for example, you know, this is more for information about what, you know, the bearing is using in the application. So weight is maybe important for that, an extra information. And yes, and then ball torque as well. So, and this is pretty much what it is. I think, let me just click in here, and then if you want to see, for example, you're working on that customer on your project, just come back to the project, and then here you have the 2 projects. So you have A and B. So you can just put a description in here, say like this is a new design. Oh, sorry. So you can also here from here, you can delete it if you want. For example, just create one without, I just want to put description, new design. Okay. And if you want to change colors, you can change color whatever you want, and then not get confused. And yes, that's it. So this is pretty much what is that program. I will stop sharing my computer. Okay, so just to summarize, next slide. Okay, just to summarize, so I give you pretty much an understanding how to use, all the tools or the options you got on the top left side of the program, which is more, you have to play around between your units, your markets, and then user, language, and backup. Next one. And then we were talking about the inputs you need, or the what actually you need. So you need for if you have as much information you got, so it's better for your drive design. So basically the mandatory fields you need the RPN, you need input RPN or output RPN, or dimension for the pulleys. You need kilowatts for the motor. If it is using a gearbox, you need that information as well. And then you need the center distance. Next slide. And then we were talking about what's the report the system generate or the program generate, how to read the report, what information is summarized in the report, how to customize the summarize or the report for the customer with all the information. And then basically this is, I think this is the last slide. Oh yeah, well, so this is the drive, and then once you got the report, so how to manipulate the report based on units, how to save it, what inputs, and then what nodes you have, what tension information about tension you have, and then yes, so once you got the report, how to manipulate them. And then based on units or based on different belts drive. And next slide. And then the label, we were talking about as well about the label, which is, I think it's really useful for people in the field. Like in the label, you will have notice all the information about the drive, and then the proper tension, basically what is in there. And next slide. And that's it for me. I think it's so we can probably open, for questions session.
Thank you, Rosie. I'll just run you through some questions. So first question is, how can I use this when on site with a customer? What can I do on the spot?
Basically, you need you download it, and then you don't need to do any internet. So basically, I think you need yeah. So I think it's you need internet. Sorry, to do that. So to download it, you need internet, obviously. Yeah.
Yep. Next question is, can I change between American standards and European standards?
Yeah, you can do, but as I mentioned before, the program will automatically put as a default American. If you don't have the option when you click on the option I showed you before, so you probably have to email me, and then I have to get our team to open to your Europe. But for default, you will have American, and then you can switch between one and another.
Yep. Next question, can you explain the tension details differences between banded and single red belts?
Sorry, basically the report, it gives you the tension on in a single belt. So if you have more than that, so you have to multiply by the number of belt you got.
And last question, when designing, does this program have the ability to show stock on hand? Would save some good time.
Unfortunately, no.
All right, cool. That was all the questions. We'll just wrap up now.
Okay, over to me, Shelton. Hi, okay. Yeah, thanks for everyone for attending, and I'd also like to thank Rosie for the presentation. I think it was great. I've learned a little bit because the program's only fairly new, and I'm still tossing between the old program and the new one, but I can see the benefits of the new program, so I'll be using that a lot more. There is a recording of the webinar, which we sent to you on email, along with the question and answers, so you can refer to that later. So you can also reach out to myself, Rosie, and also the power transmission team, which we've got scattered around Australia. So we're always here to help. And any further questions or any assistance in the setup, we can certainly help you there. To download the program, you will have to go through IT to get that installed onto your, if you're part of Motion, you need to get that installed with the right requests. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for attending.